Good evening. Welcome to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. My name is Buffy. There was a period in my life where I thought resilience meant endurance, staying in conversations that really weren't meant for me by people who thought they knew who I was, but I was just a version of who they wanted me to be rather than who I actually was and who I knew myself to be. Explaining one more time, clarifying again with people who didn't take the time to listen or maybe even care at some points, right? I thought strength meant outlasting the misunderstanding, trying to work it out, trying to compromise, trying to reach an amicable solution that we both could agree on and reach a common ground. Because I believe in compromising, not compromising who I am, but compromising and trying to meet another person in the middle, because that's what mature, honest adults do. Unfortunately, as we all learn at some point in our lives, not all adults are mature, right? And a lot of adults still want their own way, right? So if you don't agree with them, then you're immediately on the outside looking in, which in some ways that can be a blessing in disguise. For those of you that know, you know, right? What I didn't realize was that I wasn't building resilience. I was rehearsing pain, because ultimately it is really difficult to feel like people in your life don't actually know who you are, or they don't want to put the time in to get to know you and to understand what you like and what you don't like and who you actually are. They are more concerned with putting on a show for other people, right? Being who they want to be and being a person who is more about me, rather than collaborating and trying to reach a common understanding. Let's talk about tool one, track the pattern, not the moment. Resilient people don't react to isolated moments. They track patterns. Ask yourself, if you're thinking about this particular person in particular that you've had issues with, ask yourself, first of all, does this person consistently misinterpret you? Yes or no? And be honest with yourself, right? That could be difficult sometimes. Do conversations escalate instead of resolve? That's another important key. Do you leave every interaction emotionally exhausted? Emotionally exhausted trying to explain, emotionally exhausted trying to meet them in the middle when they won't even meet you halfway? Emotionally exhausted because you're tired of explaining your life to others, or the version that they believe that your life is rather than what it actually is, of your responsibilities? If the outcome is predictable, the battle isn't accidental. And ultimately, if you're doing the things that you're trying to do and you're trying to meet in the middle and you're trying to be the bigger person, so to speak, ultimately that person is never going to stand up, right? They've shown countless times that what you say often goes in one ear and out the other. And that shows what kind of person they are. They're a very selfish person. They're a person who's not interested in meeting in the middle. They're not interested in conversing. They are interested in their own version of who they think you should be. And that is not your responsibility. That is not your role. That is not your job, right? It is not your job to fit the version that somebody else thinks you should be. That's way too small of a role for you, likely, because they likely underestimate you a lot and try to make themselves as the person who has all the power, who is smarter, who is all these things that they think that you're not. So they've underestimated who you actually are, which is not fair to you, and you don't deserve that. Tool two, don't take the bait. Some conversations are not invitations. They're setups. Think about triangulation. I talked about having a discussion where I was accused of doing something that I should have been held responsible for, but it was a scenario between two people who were in a dating relationship that I had nothing to do with, right? So ultimately, rather than the person who was responsible for that interaction, one of the partners, decided to try to say that it was my fault. However, know that I, as a responsible adult and a person who holds very high principles for myself and for others, was not willing to take that bait, because ultimately I made sure that nothing that was alluded to occurred, right? Nothing happened. And yet the person who was actually guilty thought that they could project their guilty conscience onto me, which was ridiculous if you think about it. Again, one word, toxic, right? And I know we've been talking a lot about toxic family systems and how they work, and the triangulation and the gaslighting and the manipulation. Let's talk about what the definition of bait is. Loaded questions. For me, that was a loaded question. Yeah, my girlfriend told me to ask you about XYZ. Okay, well, let me tell you something. And I told the truth. Public correction. That is meant to humiliate you, isolate you, make you feel bad about yourself, and put you in your place. Moral framing. Why are you doing things this way when you could do them that way? Don't you think that that's really not the way it should be done? I mean, that's almost immoral, apparently. Concern disguised as control. I'm really worried about you. I think that maybe you're doing too much, or maybe you're actually not doing what you should be doing. And so I was wanting to step in and see if there's something that I could do to help you, maybe. I mean, do you need my help? Because it seems like you might. If someone needs you reactive to feel justified, your calm is disruptive. You are dysregulating them by the very nature of how calm you are. But they need you reactive so that maybe you might lose your mind, not lose your mind, but lose your control, so that you look like the person who is out of control. You look like maybe the crazy one, right? Maybe they're trying to paint you as crazy for whatever reason. Tool 3, protect the nervous system. Your nervous system is data. If your body braces every time you see their name pop up, that's information. Use it to your advantage. It's not drama, it's information. You should be neutral and be like, yes, my body is reacting to this. Resilience is not overriding your body. It's listening to it. That's mature. And ultimately, the people that you're going up against, the people that are trying to get you reactive, they're obviously not mature. They're playing dirty tricks and doing things to you. Try to make you more reactive and look crazy, or whatever they think that they can make you do, right? So let's talk about a reflective anchor. Self-preservation isn't selfish. It's refusing to rehearse pain. You don't build resilience by winning battles that wound you. You build resilience by refusing to enter arenas that guarantee your pain. No one needs more pain, right? We can let go of that. You can be calm, you can be final, and you can be grounded. And know that those people are not the people that are looking out for your best interest, which you greatly deserve. Thank you for tuning in to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. And I appreciate you tuning in. And I hope you'll come back and see us again soon. And check out my pinned comment and see what your thoughts are. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.